I want to introduce myself a little bit. I see a few faces that I don't recognize. I'm Mark Allen. I'm the one, my wife so graciously did this, put up the signs and stuff for me. I'm going to be running for mayor, or I am running for mayor. I want to tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'll kind of get us started. Graduated from UTC in 1984 with a bachelor's degree in accounting. Went to work for the state comptroller's office, worked there for 20 years. Audited Coffee County for 16 or 17 of those 20 years. Also provided budgetary assistance. At that time, they were doing budgetary assistance. In 2000, from 2000 to 2002, went to work for a county executive here, James Wilhelm, and was the budget and finance director here for about 2 years for the remainder of his term. Then I went and served about 5 to 6 years with the city of Manchester as a finance director. First thing I want to clear up is I'm not a politician, I'm a public servant. Can't hear me? I'm sorry. Well, yes. I'll get closer to you. I'm sorry. I've had a cold, and it's been a bad one.
You want to turn the heat off so we can hear you?
Please do. Right there. We've got more coming in anyway. Let's see if we can get it off. I'll try to speak up. I apologize for that. Usually everybody can hear me. Never heard a complaint about somebody not being able to hear me talk. Anyway, I spent 5 years with the city of Manchester as a finance director. Okay? Then I left, did what I always wanted to do for the last 11, 12 years. Had a CPA firm down in Tullahoma. We do audits of cities, utility districts, other entities. We do about 20 utility districts and about 4 cities across the state. Do some public housing authorities. I also do tax returns. Pretty well full service accounting firm. I hate to brag on us, we've had tremendous growth since 2007. Been down there since 2007. So that's kind of where, it's a little bit of my history anyway. Over the last several years, and of course, I've worked for numerous politicians throughout the years, either at the state level or here locally in your community. I'm a big supporter of public servants. I've always been. That's what I am. No ifs, ands, or buts, and I'm an accountant by trade. But anyway, like I said, this meeting, I've went back and looked at the history since 2004 of Coffee County. Okay? There's one common thread to all the problems that this county faces. to be honest with you. One common problem. We have not developed any long-range planning. It's reaction. We build jails that aren't going to last until they're full. We don't provide facilities that are needed. We've spent more than the revenues came in since 2006. The current budget expenditures exceed the revenues by $1.6 million. This has been over 10 years of living off surpluses, fund balance, and debt. We've got to do something. We can't leave this kind of debt for our children. And I'm going to address my couple concerns. Our county employees, our public service people that service you and I, our employees. The salary schedule has not been adjusted since 2004. Now, if you think we can hire quality ambulance service people and quality deputy sheriffs to protect our lives at 2004 rates and compete with the surrounding counties, municipalities for high quality employees, you're wrong. This year, I've heard rumors from pretty reliable sources that 2 of our deputy sheriffs qualified for their own Christmas gift boxes. Now, if y'all are proud of that and that's where we want to be, we keep going the road we're going. That's not where I want to be. I want to have a county that is reasonable in spending, treats its employees with respect, not grow government, take care of what we got first. I know Mayor Cordell's here. I know he inherited some of this. But it's you know, I've sat here and I've thought about it. I'm an auditor by nature. Nobody likes an auditor. I've had to do mean things in my past to get things done. And I know that. I've been directed to do things by my bosses that wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do. It's time for us to stand up and do what's right for our children and our grandchildren and our future. And the only way I know to do it is from y'all. Not from me. The worst thing that can if the worst thing happens to me, I run for office and get beat. Maybe this guy or the next guy will pick up on communicating with the public and develop a long-range plan to fix our situation. It's got to be done. And there's going to be some things that have to be done in the next few years that aren't going to be fun. So, you know, and it's not going to make everybody happy. We've got to balance the budget. We've got to take care of what we've got. We cannot continue to spend more than what's coming in. And I know there's tons of other concerns, but that one thread, that lack of a long-range plan supported by the public and developed by y'all, the voters of this county, and taken by the government's the only way we're going to get where we want to be, what we can be. I moved here in 1984, and I thought, wow, what a place. It's got 4 exits on the interstate. Where am I moving to? This must be just a huge place. And I hear people say, why don't we have stuff? Now, my community that I moved from had 60,000 people in it, about the size we are today. Today, they're over 140,000. Now, I wouldn't trade here for there for nothing. And I don't want y'all to be quiet at all. So I'm going to start kind of cutting it short. I want to hear y'all's concerns. And what the public, what do y'all want? What do we want from Coffee County? Do we want to be a bedroom community of Murfreesboro? What do the people of Coffee County want? Have we even thought about it? That's the first thing we need to decide. What do we want from an altitude of 60,000 miles up in there? We want a good place to live and work. What does Coffee County want to be? Do we want it to stay the same? What do y'all want? And I know y'all weren't anticipating that. Yes, sir.
2 questions for you. You talked about, numbers relating to the budget. If you were elected, what would you do to help balance the budget? And then the second question would be, I think Bonner is a great site for state fair. I mean, you have 4 interstate exits, like you said. You have infrastructure that's used to supporting large groups of people for a temporary amount of time. I think that would be an economic boom to the county. So those would be my 2 questions. What could we do to try and get the state fair? And then how would you try and balance the budget if you were elected?
Well, it's honestly, balancing the budget's not an option. We're going to have to get our expenditures down below our revenues. That's going, budgeting, as most of you know in here, a lot of you know, is about setting priorities. The number 1 priority is to get the spending under control. And you know that. That has to be done through the budgetary process. I know one thing that I did that I'm going to tell y'all that I did that I've never told anybody. When we did a budget here in Coffee County, it always came down to $400,000 or $500,000 that the commissioners couldn't find a place to cut it. When it come down to the end. they gave me the assignment to cut it. So I had to come up with what was fair and equal to cut. It's not fair to cut a percentage in each department across the board. Some departments come in and are bare bones. Some departments come in and there's some fluff there. Commissioners are there 1 or 2 hours a month, or 3 or 4, and they're not there day in and day out. And nowhere there is to cut. We've got to make those hard choices, and they're not fun choices. It's easy to say yes. It really is. It's easy to say yes.
Well, I got a question. It sort of goes along with what Adam said. This Bonnaroo expansion, we're not making enough on Bonnaroo anyway as far as taxes provided to the county. So if we do expand, it needs to be negotiated where we can make money. Because we've got, if we're gonna be united and transparent, obviously there's more people, there's a lot of people in Tullahoma isn't aware of what's even being spent. And now maybe Tullahoma's fault, I'm sure it is, but uniting the county and what you're doing right now will be very helpful in letting people be able to have a voice and understand what's happening.
Let's talk about Bonnaroo. You said a word there. To me, it's unethical for the county to negotiate with Bonnaroo. Bonnaroo should be treated just like any other good business that we have in this county. What taxes are there? They shouldn't have to make contributions for police service. Water lines. If they're out there. Now, if they're running water lines on Bonnaroo property, that don't go. I mean, 4, 5, 6 years ago in Manchester had a problem with spending $15,000 to move a water line so Mr. Roberts could develop his thing. What bothers me is spending $1.8 million out there on Bonnaroo property, and that was terrible. Everybody was saying we can't do that, and that was it. We ran city property on across his facility, and then now we're out there running $1.8 million worth of water lines, and everybody's going to say, "Well, that's grant money." No, it ain't. You want me to tell you why, Cheryl? You know why? Because we're going to have to fund the dad blame water lines by paying for the depreciation on them, because our water rates are going to go up. I don't care if it came from ARC or whatever. I hope it's an investment in the future of the county. I hope it's not for the development of that property into commercial property. But we should tax Bonnaroo just like any other business in the county. If they need a break on taxes, then we ought to treat them just like MTech or just like anything else. And it has nothing to do with It has to do with the ethical treatment of business and treating everybody equally and fairly. Okay?
Thank you, everybody that's here, but I want everybody to understand about how the decisions are made. We have commissioners, and we have how many commissioners? We have committees.
Yes.
The committees make the decisions that are recommended to the commissioners.
Yes.
A mayor is kind of on the sideline, like a referee or a coach, but he can influence.
Yeah, let's talk. One thing, there's Whoa. He didn't do that. Let me go back and let's address that for a minute. There's different styles of government all over the place. Okay? I apologize for that. Most people don't understand what the county mayor does. I know Gary was probably shocked when he got in there. One thing I want to tell you what the county mayor's one of his main functions. County mayor is the chief financial officer of the county, period. His main job is to take you, the sheriff, the judicial system, and facilitate them coming together into a working body also, in my mind. And the other elected officials, which I see as leaders of our community. I see you, Donna, as one of our leaders. I see John Marchesoni. You have one little, I don't mean to say little. You have one job to record deeds and to properly record it. But you're also a leader of the community. You know, and we've got problems that need to be addressed. And I think you and John and the other leaders of our community need to step up and address those issues or help us address those issues. Long-range plan. What do y'all want? You have constituents and voters and followers and people talk to you. What does our community want? What do we want to be? Cheryl.
The recent activity in the industrial board, I'd like to know your view on, do you think the industrial board should stay the same as an industrial board, or should that be changed to an economic development board?
You know, you're going to know what I'm going to say. I would love to see Coffee County as a whole come in and have an economic and industrial development board. Our society has changed. We're no longer industrial as much as we are in economic development. You know, on my Facebook page, I've got one or two guys that are always talking about we want, Charlie's, we want whatever. Listen, it's 12 minutes between Manchester and Tullahoma. 12 whole minutes. We keep this attitude that we're not in the same community. There's nothing that happens down in Tullahoma that doesn't impact Manchester. There's nothing in Manchester that doesn't impact Tullahoma. I live in Manchester and work in Tullahoma. I've also lived in Tullahoma and worked in Manchester. Now, we've got to somehow come together. So, a good economic development, industrial development board that can properly promote Coffee County would be great as a whole. Have a question?
Well, yes. Where do you stand on unification of the three governments, the Tullahoma, Manchester, and which would include the school system? I lived in Knox County, and
Yeah.
I heard read in the paper and heard everybody talking about how it was going to be the end of the world. And guess what? It wasn't.
Let me say something first. Where would I stand personally? Of course, as county mayor, I would say I don't know. But let me tell you something. I kind of like the idea, but you've got a little special situation in Tullahoma. It's sitting on the border, and it expands in services out into Franklin County and actually servicing Moore County, but the school system reaches over into those counties. Until you solve that situation, then it'll never fly.
So you're saying that because they have creeped into Franklin County, the city of Tullahoma, that would stop the whole county, Coffee County?
Well, I think it's going to be hard to come up with a plan that you can get the city of Tullahoma voters to vote for.
They'll never vote for it.
And they'll never vote for it. And that's as much as Coffee County government's fault as anything.
Well, that's what, we let Tullahoma tell us what we're gonna do for the county. And we just tuck our tails and,
No, we shouldn't. I don't think that happens at all.
well, you just said Tullahoma won't vote for it, so it sounds like you're saying,
Well-
saying it would fail.
Now, I think it would work great between Manchester and Coffee County because you don't have the school situation. Okay?
Well, I know that Tullahoma in the school system, they claim that they're superior. And if you look at the test results, they're just a little bit above Manchester's and Coffee County. And if you look at, they actually tout that on the census that they're better educated, better paid, better everything. It's infinitesimal according to the census
Right.
about those things.
Right.
It's true, but
We-
to such a small degree, it can't even be a bragging factor.
Well, I tend to agree with you, but the competition, honestly, I think we have 3 good school systems here. It's going to be hard to go away from those 3 school systems.
If Tullahoma gets to use the reason that their school systems, which they have in the past, would be so diluted by all the dumb Manchester kids.
I was working.
That's not true because all you have to do is show the facts.
I was working at Coffee County last time the Metro vote, and they convened a Metro Council, okay, or convened the study group. Bob Smith, worked a lot with Bob Smith on it. Actually, most of the opposition came from the rural area, because when you put it together as a whole, believe it or not, Tullahoma had the majority of votes on the Metro Council. So that kind of killed it, just to be honest with you. Now, how we could put it together, I don't know. Right now, about the best thing I can tell you is the voters of Coffee County won't support Metro government. Now, when they do,
I mean, it's not ever been put to a vote, so how do you know they wouldn't support?
yeah, it has in 2002. And it got beat pretty bad.
I mean,
That's
that's,
a whole new county since then.
oh, yeah.
I mean, they're growing by
You're
leaps
going,
and bounds.
you're talking about 15-year-old data?
Now, if somebody wants to start a petition for it to go to vote, that'd be great. All it does is take 10%, I think 10% of the voters in the last presidential election to sign the petition, and it comes up for vote. Now let me warn you about something. Last time the county spent about $100,000 on the study. It'd probably run you about $150,000 on the study, to do the study. By the time the appointed members of the group got together, they spent about $100,000 of money. Okay? Then it has the same problem that I have right now. That's why you see a refreshment contribution sign. Then you have to win the election. You have to educate the public. Now, I was involved over in the county right next to us, and it's skipping my mind. Not more, the next one over. No, Lincoln County. A group over there hired me to do a study. To study their Metro Council, group of businessmen, to come up with some numbers. We had some preliminary numbers in how and where it might save money. Okay? One thing was the termination of central office at the city school system and actually putting that money to the schools. The biggest problem with combining school systems, you go by the high salary schedule. The teachers get the salary of the highest salary schedule. And believe it or not, it's not Tullahoma. High salary schedule, city of Manchester. And on the low end, and then on the high end, your master's degrees and above, the salary schedule is weighted down in Tullahoma real high on them. So when you mash them together, you've got a huge new salary schedule.
Well, that's not the way it happened in Knox County. The teachers in Knoxville City were higher paid than any of the other school systems. And what happened is if one teacher was making $20,000 in the city system and $15,000 in the county, then the one that was making the teachers they were frozen until a period of time.
That was Knox County, where they combined school systems like that. Knox County went out. City of Knoxville went out of the school business. There's a difference. The teachers did not all the teachers did. What you just said is they automatically. No. That's under Metro government. What happened in Knoxville was the city opted to one day just vote and go out of the school business. They basically just gave it up. Right. And that happens. The city school systems were created for one reason. The county school systems would not properly fund the schools. Okay? Way back when we were mostly agricultural. And city school systems popped up all over the place. That's not necessarily the case anymore. But
it seems like if you talk about getting close to a balanced budget or balancing the budget, until we get rid of duplication of services, that should be the very first thing.
ADA is killing us on the education.
Well, actually, ADA is probably in our favor in the county. We don't use it properly. We issue debt on rural only, and there's no tax base out in the rural area. Am I not correct? And that's killing them. It's all rural. Your tax base, most of your taxes, believe it or not, the commercial tax base and the industrial tax base is so heavy. Now, Coffee County does have one good thing. Yes, sir.
If you're elected mayor, do you have a plan to attract more business to raise our revenue? How would you attract more business?
Simple. Right now, it's already been addressed right back here. Turn your industrial development board into more of an economic development board. What I'd like to see done is more like what's happening down in Tullahoma with, let's try to cultivate some small businesses. We do tons of stuff for large businesses. We've got all kinds of incentives. There's nothing here to attract small business, such as I've been in. And we've grown since 2007, from 3 employees to 11. Now that may not sound phenomenal to you. We did most of that during the worst economic times that I've ever seen. So you're looking at, we've got to do something about small business. We need to attract more of an economic type development board. We need to address those issues. We need to sell ourselves better. We need to ethically deal with businesses in the community. Now listen, we've got a bad reputation outside of Coffee County. Our business dealings are not good. We have a history of basically jacking up new businesses, wanting money. Yes, sir.
I got a question. As an outsider who would really, I envy some of the problems that Manchester and Coffee County has.
Yeah.
Getting back to Bonnaroo, I want to ask a question. The decisions that are made by Bonnaroo by the elected officials, as an outsider, it's like an open secret that elected officials get tickets from Bonnaroo.
They do.
Yes. I mean, how do you expect elected officials?
That's what we got to.
Sense of impropriety there and conflict is.
That's what we've got to get rid of. If you want to get good business here in Coffee County, that stuff right there, jacking them up for tickets, excuse my language, and you're going to contribute to us. Is going to run a good business right out of this place.
I need to correct a part of that statement. There is several elected officials in this room that do not receive tickets.
And we
Let's
do
make
not
sure
receive
that is-
I understand. It started about 2006, 2007.
Well, was that something that elected officials asked for, or is that something that the Bonnaroo
I don't know.
execs offered and?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We shouldn't be doing it. The presence of it. Now, if Bonnaroo wants to give citizens of Coffee County free tickets out there, have a lottery, do some kind of promotion to promote Bonnaroo and give the tickets away. Us as a government should have nothing to do with that.
Mark, it seems like one of the largest campaign funds I've ever seen that's used.
$400,000 a year. $400,000 a year. Running for county mayor, I'm running against not Mr. Cordell, a man that gave away 3,300 tickets a year from Bonnaroo. And he'll have to face him too. Okay? Well over $500,000 worth of tickets per year. And I don't mean to talk bad about him. We've accepted that as normal.
Do we understand that that's the county's money? What figure did you just tell them?
I think it's 440,000.
Did we receive
That
At-
is the
from
taxpayers
Bonnaroo,
of the
straight
county's
out
money.
legal taxes?
I don't know, but it's somewhere around 400,000 or 500,000.
The hotel motel taxes are the taxpayers' money.
Yes.
Revenues that this county
Yes.
makes is you, the people, it's your money. And if it's not harbored and taken care of, then we're gonna continue to have our taxes increase. To the point where a lot of us that have any sense at all are gonna sell and move. And all of us that have been so true in this room to buying at home, that will go away. Because the people that come in will not be as favorable as we have to our local businesses. And but all that is with it's in the commissioner's hands and in the special committees. That's where those decisions are made.
Our tax base is already hurting Talbot County. I'm a real estate broker here in town for almost 20 years. And this last year, I can, off the top of my head, without even thinking about it, had 3 different deals that were either under contract or about to go under contract. And when the people, and they were all three from Murfreesboro, they came down and they found out what our property taxes were. One lady bailed and lost $5,000 earnest money because it was just cheaper for her to walk away then as opposed to later. And the other two didn't finish the contract because of the tax base. We are one of the largest, highest property tax base in the state of Tennessee.
Manchester. Manchester's third.
We're with.
Manchester is third.
We don't get the services that the other big cities get for the property taxes that we pay. And I fight this, I work on a national basis with the National Association of Realtors. And when they find out this in the national meetings, they're in the size of our town and some counties, they're just appalled at that.
Manchester's third. Tullahoma's second. Germantown's first. Now, if we continue going the path that we're going to get to be number one. Now, something's got to change. We've got to get expansion of government under control. We're going to have to set our priorities. Is it going to be easy? No. Is it going to take time? Yes.
We've got 3 industrial parks, and one of the first things that a business would look at when locating here is, do you have an educated, skilled workforce that we can hire? And, we've got Motlow, and everybody goes off to college, and they don't come back. We need vocational training. We need skilled education.
Let me say something about that. And I know we've got a few sheriff candidates in here. We've got to do something. I've got a son-in-law who works at Walmart as a manager. They quit drug testing about 2 weeks ago. You know why Walmart quit drug testing? They can't hire anybody. We've got to do something other than sticking them in jail. We've got to do something. Our leaders of our community have to step up and work together to get the drug dealers out of here, to get our kids off drugs. My God, y'all.
Well, the reason why the kids are on drugs is because there's no places for kids to go in Manchester.
We've got to do something. We've got to do something. We're going to have to address the problem.
And get help.
I know Larry, I know y'all are right here. Mr. Parton's running for sheriff. We've got to do something about the drugs. I beg y'all to do something about the drugs. I have teenagers. We have fought the issue in our house.
How does county government deal with drugs? I mean, that's state law as opposed to county. I mean, the county can't change state law.
No, they can't. But the sheriff, education, judicial can work together to help our children in our schools.
So you look at more of an education as opposed to criminal justice reform.
Putting them in jail don't work. Y'all, our jail's full.
Not when 30% of your population of your jail is misdemeanor violations of probation.
Comes through the court system and goes right back into the speeding jail.
We got to do something, y'all.
It's supposed to change, but now in the next 4 or 5 years, you're going to be coming in here, and whoever it is going to be faced wanting to add on to a jail.
So we've got to address education. We've got to attack it. And our leaders of our community, and I hate to say this, got a trustee here, got a register of deeds here. They don't have nothing to do with drugs. in their office. Let's stand up as leaders of our community and get out there with our kids and get this crap out of here. I'm sorry.
We need places for our kids to go.
I agree with you.
And when we first moved
I agree
here, when
with
I
you.
called about it, they told me at City Hall, well, we have the community center or the rec center. The rec center closes at 5 o'clock on Friday.
I agree.
Friday nights, what are kids doing? They're hanging out in the food line, or they're getting tickets, or getting pregnant because there's nothing else for them to do but go out in the woods and.
Well, I hate to.
With the adults, our largest problem in Coffee County is the adult offenders of the drugs. There's programs out there that have been introduced to our commissioners that would help that population at the jail if they would follow through with it. I know that the current mayor has introduced these programs to the commissioners. They turned their backs on it, let it walk
Well.
away. Today, on my county newspaper, I looked down and happened to see an article to the left side of the paper that stated a $15 million fund to the state of Tennessee to fund the pre-arrest diversions for people that had need for mental health or for addiction. So, you know, somewhere we're not utilizing the things that are out there, or we don't want to,
Well-
or we want to always just walk away from it and not address it. And I myself, you talked about me being an elected official and not stepping up.
No, I'm saying.
I mean, I'm in the middle of a drug crisis. Chad Pardon knows it. I have a 48-year-old brother that drugs are his life. His life. He's in prison today. And I have watched it, and the can has been kicked down the road year after year after year. They just cycle through that jail. Chad knows it. The mayor knows it. You know it, Mark. Until that Ferris wheel gets turned off, we're going to continue to have a full jail. We're going to continue to have the addicts in Coffee County until we stop it. Now, my brother has just graduated from a program, a brand new program. And for the first time in his adult life, I believe he may make it this time.
Well, what, and the reason, and not to criticize Mr. Cordell, the reason that I'm up here and running to facilitate y'all, get y'all together. And let's develop a solution. Now, you say the county commission said no. You walk up there with the support of the people and see if they tell you no. I've been up the city, sitting up there kind of close to where Bridget said, that's the old city, and 30 people shows up, and those aldermen are shaking in their shoes. They're going to do whatever those people want. Our problem is not being active, watching what these people do. Let's get active in politics. Let's get active watching these people. And it's hard, especially for young people like my daughter over here, 22 years old. We've got to be active. We've got to watch government. We've got to make them do what we want. We can't just go home and close the door because they won't do nothing.
But Mark, you cannot get these people to come to meetings. I've been sitting on that board for almost
I know.
2 years now, and I would love to see a meeting where there's 30 people sitting in the audience.
I know.
So you're saying you're going to facilitate to get these
Let's
people
get,
to hold the government accountable.
we're
How do you
here.
wanna do it?
We're here.
I know that you're not in a meeting setting.
I know.
What are you going to do if elected to get the public to come to those meetings and hold you?
I've thought about that. Let me tell you what I'd like to do. If elected, let's continue this. Let's continue a community circle. You know as well as I do, the formality of a county commission meeting or board of mayor and alderman meeting doesn't allow for much input from the public. We've got to continue this type of meeting. We've got to grow it. We've got to come forward with it. We've got to be passionate about what we're doing. There does, and it's terrible.
It is, it's absolutely terrible. I'm running for commissioner and I have no idea when half the meetings are. And I've gone in and asked the mayor's secretary to schedule.
It's terrible. There's like a fear that y'all are going to shoot me. Yeah, up there. And y'all may shoot me. Right now, I really don't care. I'm mad and I'm passionate and I'm going to get it fixed.
I'm mad and I'm not gonna take it anymore.
Mr. Allen, do you have the mindset to be able, as, I've done it on a much smaller scale than what you will be faced with, to say, no, we're not gonna do it that way. To go to a committee and say, I'm the mayor of this county, and the people are not going to settle for this any longer, and you're gonna have to stop making the type of decisions that you're making. Can you do that?
Yes. Especially if we can continue this. These people, and y'all know it, being elected official, the power comes from the people. It doesn't come from the elected officials. It comes from y'all's support. It comes from the community. All they want to do is get reelected.
Well, you have to be a chest-thumping, aggressive mayor. You cannot be passive.
You cannot be
You cannot
passive.
continue to go along with or actually recommend the same old people.
You
who
can't do
nothing
it.
on these committees.
You can't do it. I agree with you 100%.
You can go on the website and you can look. It's the same people get appointed to the same committees every time.
We've turned our politicians into popularity contests, our elections into popularity contests. I ain't the most popular person here, and I definitely ain't the wealthiest that's going to be running. And I ain't the nicest guy. I'm sorry.
Join the club.
Me either.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have a few questions, and forgive my lack of knowledge when I'm just learning a little bit more how to become involved. Back to the metro school that we know won't pass because we had a
I was talking about metro government.
metro
would
government
include the
because
school system.
that we had a vote in 2004, I believe. I don't think we can make that decision for the people that it won't pass. I think we talk about, this is my opinion, and I may be lacking knowledge of that, lacking knowledge. I want to understand. But I hear people talking about us uniting as a county.
I do, and I want that
I
bad.
went door-to-door campaigning several times, but 3 years ago, and this is hard to believe, there were people in Tullahoma that said, told me that they couldn't vote for the candidate that I was canvassing for, a county candidate.
Yeah.
They said, I live in the city of Tullahoma, and I don't think I'm allowed to vote in the county, I promise you, the county elections.
And what's so silly about the whole thing?
And these were registered voters. I only went to registered voters' houses.
I know.
Excuse me, I'd like to,
Let's get back to metro government.
okay.
Now, what I would suggest doing, if you want it to pass, is go to your state representative. Hang on.
I haven't got to my question.
Okay.
My question is that, first of all, as I said, I don't think we can make a decision for people, and I do think we need to be more united. I agree with
Yeah.
that. I've lost my whole train of thought here.
I apologize.
That's okay, but what I wanted to know, one thing I wanted to know was when you said, and I'm just trying to understand, you said you thought that the reason it wouldn't pass is because in Tullahoma we have a unique situation
We do.
where it goes over into Franklin County and Moore County. Is that
And then you've got the situation right here, education, on the county mayor, the county sheriff. They represent them too.
So is that a similar situation in which we have Morrison in Coffee County and Pelham is in Grundy? I mean, we have some of those same. Am I understanding that correctly?
Let me encourage you to something.
Okay.
Something that's easier to do than what people think it is. go to your state legislature, and that could be what comes out of this group, and say, I want a little change in the law to allow Coffee County, for the county seat, to be the majority city. And if it fails in Tullahoma, then you at least combine Manchester and Coffee County.
Well, I wish I had the answers, I don't, but I do feel like many of the problems and challenges that we're talking about with drugs, if we can't start uniting our children, where are we gonna start?
We've got ourselves in a catch-22. We want industry, we want work here, but we can't provide a workforce.
Because we're not educating our kids the way they deserve to be educated.
Because we want to stay at home at night.
I disagree with that totally. Both my children were educated in Coffee County, and one of them, from day one, has lived and worked in New York City for 21 years. Our son, he left college and went to Atlanta. No, I think that it is not going to be educated. I think it goes back to the home and make sure that the parents make sure those kids do their homework. But you cannot lay that on the education.
No, and I didn't use
No.
the right word, I have a son in the pre-vet program, so it's not just about that.
It's not the education system, it's us not being involved.
Yes, and we can't make, it was always the same parents at the ball fields, the same parents that were involved in the school. I don't know how we make people care to be involved.
I don't know, it takes a lot of work. You wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, hi, my name is Ashley. I'm running for county commissioner.
Good.
Well, I'm young, I know it's weird. I had a question. What is your thoughts on the conference center?
Ooh. 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 Let me tell you something. I will tell you my thoughts on the conference center. When the thing was originally designed, I saw the study. I was working at the county. I just came to work there. Took it to a county commissioner and I said, have you read this? He said, yeah, I read that. I said, this thing's projected to have a loss of $250,000 a year for the lifetime of the facility. Okay? They said, we don't care. Now, let me tell you something else about it. It's not being run the way that it was designed to be run. It was designed to be operated by a private entity, a for-profit entity. We've turned it into a government playhouse. And so are the losses going to be worse? Yep.
Tell them the losses currently of the last budget year.
I don't know.
I think the mayor does 700,000.
No, that was the year before, and it was actually...
That's exactly what I was told during budget time.
Is probably gonna be 180 or 200 this year.
Yeah,
I was told.
The county portion.
I was told.
the county portion.
700,000 last year.
Wait a second.
Now, I can kind of
Now, when he says the county portion,
That's half.
That's not
okay,
all of
that's
it.
what the problem is. We are a whole.
We are a whole.
And it gets put in portions of Tullahoma, rural.
We need to stop that. It had losses of $360,000.
It's too much moving around, and it's easy to hide what you got. It needs to be transparent and put in numbers where the average person can understand.
It cost us $360,000.
I also have a question with that. Has the hotel that it's attached to shown any interest in possibly purchasing it and or using it as an event space to cater with their hotel?
Let me tell you why the county commissioners did it at the time. And maybe y'all will get a better understanding. Okay? As I did when they straightened me out. They built that conference center. The county owned that property, about 25 acres. The county had that property up for sale for $5,000 an acre. Okay? Was trying to sell that property for $5,000 an acre. They couldn't sell it. This company came through and said, we want to build a hotel here. They said, we've got 25 acres we'll sell you for $25,000 an acre. And they bought it from the county. Okay? They wanted that hotel here and the promise of an additional hotel, which eventually became a reality. The city of Manchester actually makes out pretty good, Cheryl. Your hotel motel tax off of those two facilities is phenomenal. Now the county takes it on the chin a little bit. So, but now that was the deal that was worked. That they were doing that to attract that business. Now you've got to remember at the time, Walmart's not there, Old Charlie's is not there. To be honest with you, that end of town was a little bit on the seedy side, wasn't it, Barry?
Yeah. The museum was there.
The museum was there. And that was it. So that's basically why the county commission did it. We're stuck with funding it.
By the way, by Danner Foods.
Yeah. And it was given to the county, yeah. But now, that's what happened. Believe it or not, the city comes out pretty good. If you look at the taxes that are collected out there. Now, do I think it's a good deal? I don't know. I'll tell you, a prior county mayor got mad because he wanted to have his election party out there for free. Okay? And that's when it went from privately operated to the Public Building Authority actually getting their hands in there and operating it, which I think's a problem. I think something's got to give. Somebody's got to either sell that thing to the Holiday Inn or develop some kind of working relationship between the Holiday Inn and the conference center. Without a working relationship between the conference center and the Holiday Inn, and the Holiday Inn helping promote that conference center, it's always going to lose big money. Now, and Michael Gibson owns that Holiday Inn. And I would suggest Mr. Cordell contacted him and going to Knoxville and making a visit.
Mark,
Yes, sir.
there's not a contractual relationship between the Holiday Inn Express and the convention center?
Not anymore.
Well, is that why? I mean, how come
They-
how come there is a hallway that connects it?
For the first 4 years of operations of that, there was an operation contract. It was being operated very similar to what the Marriott in Franklin is operated. That's what it was designed as. It was designed after the Marriott Convention Center over in Franklin.
So you have a single hotel that has the advantage of being connected to the conference center.
Yes.
Do the other hotels not care?
At the time, they were very upset, yes. But they were granted access to that hotel. They
What do
w-
you mean? Who is they? Holiday Inn?
No. Here in Manchester, you have a Hotel Owners Association, and we had to go present stuff to them. So, yes, they were very upset.
Well, and so they were upset, and so the county just did it anyway?
County Commission went ahead and did it.
I mean, there seems to be a problem. A single hotel's been singled out to have an advantage with a county-owned facility.
But it had never been an advantage to them. Yes, ma'am.
It hadn't been an advantage.
No. They hadn't had a working relationship in over what, 7, 8, 9 years?
That
They
sounds
should
like
have an
double
advantage
talk.
because guests going to the conference center stay at the motel.
Have they had a conference out there yet? I'm sorry.
Yeah, because, Mark, that sounds like double talk to me. I don't
What?
understand what you're saying about
What-
Holiday
what?
Inn not having an advantage.
I would agree with you. The Holiday Inn does have an advantage,
Yeah, I know they do.
and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But right now, the relationship between the Holiday Inn and the conference center's not as such that they're doing booking, nor is
But
the Holiday Inn
potential is
promoting.
there. It's like,
The potential is there.
whether reality, whether it came to fruition or not, they still have an advantage. They're an independent business. I hate to say this, but it sounds like there's poor management in the county. That's just what it
You
sounds
think so?
Yeah, I think so.
I think there is too. I think there is too. Yes, ma'am.
Lawsuits against the county. As mayor, would you have access to those? Who in the elected officials has access to county lawsuits?
County mayor does and county attorney. Now listen, there's one thing about that I noticed that upsets me greatly. And actually this didn't happen under Mr. Cordell's administration. So I'll give him credit. This year the county budgeted $300,000 for a lawsuit. I saw that in the budget and I was like, what have they done to us? The prior mayor terminated, that's also running this time, terminated an employee evidently unjustly, and the county lost $300,000 in a lawsuit. That's unconscionable to me. Yes, sir.
That law said we should have been heard. That has not been, that's appealed to the state appellate court, appeal court.
But it's
We may stand to lose more than 300,000
wonderful.
because the initial probable cost was 600,000.
Were we guilty or not guilty? Just between us. Was our opponent guilty or not guilty? He was guilty.
Mark, I have a question.
I have a suggestion.
I understand. I understand.
I have a suggestion. It's kind of minor, but if you do those plans in Knox County, they have not just a single plan. They have 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, 20-year.
Plans? Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
That's okay. When you talked about the Economic Development Board, which I think is a fabulous idea, you said something I thought about attracting small businesses.
Yes.
Okay. What about attracting the larger businesses, big businesses?
We need to continue doing that. But now listen, one problem that the county's done, and it gets back to your management problem, there's been no goals set.
Okay. So,
No goals set for the Industrial Development Board. In other words, they don't recruit anything, that's fine. If they do, that's great.
So my follow-up to that.
They need a goal.
Are there job descriptions, qualifications for people that serve on these economic development boards, people that actually, for lack of better words, have the knowledge to do the job that needs to be done to
We don't
attract
have a
those
retail
businesses?
committee anymore, and Tullahoma has kept theirs going strong.
Did Manchester close theirs?
They dismantled it. I used to serve on it.
So are there
That's a shame.
qualifications to serve on those committees? Or do
Shh.
they just say,
Should be, but let's keep one thing in mind. We've got to have government by the people. And believe it or not, that's an arm of the government. We've got to have the people's words. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Cindy Lowe. I don't know if anybody knows who I am. I currently have a lawsuit against the county through the sheriff's department for malicious prosecution. That lawsuit would have never happened had anybody helped me in any way. And I don't think any commissioner, any elected official that has anything to do with that could take a look at my case and see that there's somebody running for sheriff currently that should not have a job with the Coffee County Sheriff's Department.
Question.
It's plain to see, but who sees it? Who knows about it? Why is people not held accountable when we do have these lawsuits? Like I said, the mayor previously was this $300,000 lawsuit, but he's running for mayor again. I had saw on a commissioner meeting that commissioners don't even have access to county lawsuits.
and I think it was Steve, someone had asked to start getting those lawsuits. I would love for somebody to look at my lawsuit.
Have they, do they not have access to the lawsuits? They do have access? Yeah, they
You have
do.
access to my lawsuit? It's a $1
Yeah.
million lawsuit against Coffee County Sheriff's Department. Danny Farrell is running for sheriff currently.
Question.
And the bulk of the lawsuits in the county come from the sheriff's department.
I understand that. That's nature of the game too. Have you tried to talk to Mr. Cordell?
If you
I
do
would
my case,
suggest-
do my case, do what
I would
the
suggest-
DA, the assistant DA, Coffee County Sheriff's Department, everybody I went to, I had nowhere to go. Nowhere to go for over a year, and that's when my case came out.
Well,
And like I said, who knows about these cases? Who's going to hold these people accountable? Because it would take somebody with very little education, knowledge to read this lawsuit and to understand that Mr. Farrell, in my opinion, should not be employed with the Coffee County Sheriff's Department.
well, I don't know. I don't know.
Rejected from the DA, everybody, because I was assaulted by a police officer's brother.
Oh, right.
Question. Now let me ask a question of y'all. What?
I didn't want the lawsuit. That was my last
I understand.
option. I wanted my abuser to be brought to justice,
I understand.
but he never was, and I was arrested because I wanted to go away. That's the way I see it. And I think anybody that could read audios, court transcripts, court documents would see what certain people did to me, and who knows about it. I want to know who knows about this case and why they haven't done anything, why they haven't held anybody accountable. Because I've tried.
Sorry. But anyway, one question. What do we want out of our county? What do we want to become? And I was, yes. What do we want to become?
Mark, before the crowd gets going, I'd like to
No,
hear
no.
maybe you and Mayor Cordell could elaborate, and I know in our county government we have a lot of employees, and I know you're worried about salaries and benefits for our employees, and I know we haven't had a cost of living increase in many years, and as a candidate, I'm concerned about the employees, particularly the Sheriff's Department employees. But as a whole, I'm worried about all the county employees, and I'm worried about insurance benefits. And I know insurance is a very critical cost to the county. But what is as a county mayor candidate, what would be your thoughts into the future of what we can do within our current budgets, but yet be able to help our county employees?
What I think we need to do is prioritize our county employees. I know it stopped. We have a salary schedule, steps and grades. It was never intended for the steps to be the annual raises. That was a reward for longevity. And every other year, the county commission would adjust the salary schedule. For some reason, that stopped in 2004. Didn't recur in 2006. We've got to prioritize taking care of what we have. And I don't know how we're going to do it with the way we've expanded government.
Well, without a doubt, we're way behind, and we're losing good quality county employees very often to other governments because of benefits and salary structures. And I was just curious as to what your point would be, or what your
Well,
idea
we've got to prioritize that.
to slow that down.
We're going to have to make some hard decisions. And you know that as well as I do. And you know that, don't you, Tom? No.
Yeah. You know, I walked in as a new elected official with $68,000 removed from my budget. I found out real quick what you had to do to survive.
And it's hard.
And it's hard to stand up for what's right. And it's hard to be a no
That doesn't bother me at
You
all.
have to do that if you're gonna serve the people of this community and get us where we're gonna go.
I've been beat on by the best. 20 years of experience in the comptroller's office, writing people like y'all up. But anyway, hey, I appreciate everybody coming. I'm going to try to do this about once a month. I want the next one to be more about y'all and y'all to think about what do we want out of Coffee County.
20th of January needs to be elected.
Yeah, listen. Everybody listen up. The Republican Party is giving a breakfast on January 20th. Meet the candidates. 8 o'clock at CCAP, I believe. Correct? 9 o'clock at CCAP. Everybody please attend. I'm sorry.
Thank everybody. You got something right there.
Well, it's called sweat.
Yeah. Thank them for coming.
Thank y'all for coming.
I think you hit on some good points. Some people wanted to go where they ain't gonna go
Where?
there. Some people wanted to go places that I was hoping that this wouldn't go. I don't want an argument. I want a question to be asked, and I want an answer to be given.
Yes, I understand. And I got too long. Oh, God.
They're shipping.
I mean, if the agents laid out
You have a cigarette in your pocket.
No, where is she? I can talk to her.
Who?
Don't take off with them. You may take one and give them back to me.
Let me get your mic.
Oh.
Well, we don't have any KGB.
Get a napkin, wipe the spit off.